Speaking of that, though, I can only imagine the workload that you and your fellow Congress people endure every day, every week, every month. How do you get away from it? How do you take a break? Are you able to? Are you able to? Is there anything you do?
I don't have very many hobbies or anything like that. I come home every week. I've never spent a weekend voluntarily in Washington since I've been in Congress. I come home because my center of the universe sits right here, and my wife, who I'm sorry couldn't be with us tonight, is the wind beneath my wings. I married her 51 years ago in the Netherlands, in Holland. She's not wasn't an American citizen. English was not her first language. We've been married 51 years, and we got this bunch of yahoos that I'm very, very proud of. And she's the greatest blessing in my life, and that's the way I'm able to do it.
That's wonderful. That's good. That's wonderful. When you came to Texas Tech and began majoring in history, was law school a goal at that point?
No, I wasn't a real good goal setter in those days. In fact, the story about law school, one of my college roommates, John Parks, is sitting out there. He and I were both history majors. Now, I'll tell you, if I can make it, anybody can make it. But I was a real good student in history. I made all A's in history. It's the only way I got in law school, actually. But about halfway in the sophomore, in the spring semester, Park said, "Carter, have you ever figured out what we're going to do for a living when we get out of school?" He said, "Neither one of us got a teaching certificate." So he said, "Go over and look in the careers book over at the book about that thick over at the library." So I went over there and dug through it. I swear this is a God's awful truth. Only job for a bachelor's of arts in history in the entire United States was assistant librarian in East Orange, New Jersey. So when Park said, "Hey, we ought to take that law test," I said, "You know what, John? I believe you're right." Now, people that have taken law school are not going to like this story. But I paid my money, and I forgot about it completely. I never studied, never did anything. John Parks comes in and wakes me up on a Saturday morning. Says, "Come on, Carter, we're going to take that law test." And we did. That's absolutely true. Well, for all of you who cram for the law exam, I hate to tell you this. But about 3 weeks later, I started getting letters saying, "We got your grades. You did okay." SMU wanted me first, Baylor, then Texas. We didn't have a law school, so I went to Texas. Now, people ask me how that's possible. I took one course as an elective that I honestly believe enabled me to pass that exam. I took a course in logic. I took it because I sat down with some people and they'd thrown out some logic problems and I was fascinated by them. So I took that course. It was an elective, didn't have to have it, did it for fun. But the way to logically look at things is why I passed that test. So if you're going to go to law school, take logic. I'll also tell you, if you want to know what kind of student I was, when I finally got into my major, my daddy got a letter from Texas Tech saying your son made the dean's list. And my dad called me immediately and said, what in the hell did you do to get in trouble? Why has the dean got you on his list? That's a true story.
Oh, the bar is being set. So after 20 years on the bench, more than 20 years, what motivated you or gave you the decision to run for Congress?
Well, actually, I went to, we were trying to figure out a way to lighten the load for the judiciary, and they came up with alternative dispute resolution. And so Mike Davis, who's sitting right there, and I went to Ruidoso to go to a alternative dispute resolution conference to learn how to do something other than go to court to solve problems. And they attacked the World Trade Center. And he and I were grounded, had to go to El Paso to get a car, and then we drove all the way across Texas back to Round Rock. And on the way, we talked about what we were going to do, what was going to happen to our children in World War III. That's where we thought we were. And in the conversation, David said, I was telling him, well, I could be a $1 a year man like they had during World War II. I wasn't there, but I knew about it. I'm a historian, right? Okay, but he said, well, I hear we're going to have some new Congress seats. Why don't you run for Congress? And I said, well, my wife and I will pray on it, and we'll think about it. And that's how it all got started. And that's why I ran for Congress. Because as David said, one thing I can guarantee you, Judge, you know how to punish people.
Going back to your tech days. Yeah, I don't know what this is going to bring out of you. I was going to ask you some of your what are some of your fondest memories from tech?
Well, you know what really, I think the thing that everybody that goes to tech really realizes is the people you meet here, you expand your horizon of friends all over the state, all over the country. You get to know people from everywhere. You get to make friends that I was from a big school, Beller High School. At that time, we were the largest high school in the state. And John Parks is from San Saba. One of my roommates was from Coleman. Had friends from Ozona. And you got a whole different perspective on the world that I don't think you can get anywhere else but in West Texas. Because this is a friendly world that makes friendly people out of unfriendly people. Houstonians are not that friendly. But if they go to Texas Tech, they are.
Reached out to some of your colleagues to get their thoughts on working with you, and I want to share a couple. Judge Carter's a good man. I need to know what it will take to get him to switch his vote on anything. Speaker Nancy Pelosi. No. Okay, I've got a real one.
Nancy, don't talk to me.
Okay, this one is real and genuine. Judge Carter is an outstanding Texan who has dedicated his life to serving others in the law. From his longstanding leadership representing the 31st Congressional District of Texas to his work in Congress supporting the U.S. Armed Forces and our veterans, Judge Carter has a proven record of accomplishments for Central Texans and the American people. Since we commenced our House career as freshmen together in 2003, it has been my privilege to serve alongside John. I congratulate my friend on this well-earned achievement and wish him every continued success. Representative Michael C. Burgess, MD.
And my partner, we came in together. And in fact, Burgess and I have made a blood oath. If either one of us is thinking about leaving, we're going to tell the other one. So, no, Burgess is quite an asset.
The Judge, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.